Welcome to our talk presented by Kite Creates and the Fiber Platform. And if you're new to us at Kite Creates, we are an initiative at Kite that builds bridges between innovators in healthcare and the creative industries. And Fiber, if you're new to Fiber or hearing about Fiber, Fiber is a collective of scientists whose academic research is driving wearable outcomes for more accessible health applications. So if you're interested to know more about both Kite Creates and other programming that we're doing at Kite Creates and the Fiber platform, then just see either me or Garrick at the networking session. We'll be around. So really excited to bring this textile series, and Saeed here is going to kick this off with this talk today. And this series and the talk complements what we've been doing for the talks in fashion tech, which we started last year and the beginning of this year. So excited to join both fashion and textiles together in this area. So just some logistics. We have a Q&A, which will be at the end of Saeed's talk, and we're doing it by Menti as well as in the room. And so you'll see a Menti code on the screen, so you can go to the Menti website and join that. And so if you think of questions as Saeed is talking, please put those in, and Garrick and I will be looking at those questions, and we'll bring those out at the end. And we'll have mics around the room for a Q&A with Saeed as well. And you can also obviously talk to him in the networking session as well. So to introduce Dr. Saeed, thank you so much for joining us today and being here. Saeed is a textile researcher with over a decade of experience in textiles, wearable materials, and PPE. He leads applied research projects focused on material innovation, performance testing, and sustainability, and is known for his analytical and creative approach. Saeed holds a PhD from the University of Manchester in the UK and an MSc in textiles technology. He currently serves as lead fabric scientist and principal investigator at George Brown College, and I'm absolutely delighted that he's agreed to give this talk today. So if we can give him a round of applause before he starts.
Oh, thank you. Oh, everybody can hear me, right? It's a pleasure to be here. And thanks a lot for coming. So let's kick it with acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the event and the meetings we host take place on the traditional territory of Mississaugas of the Credit Nation and other indigenous people who have lived here over time. We are grateful to share this land as treaty people who learn, work, and live in the community with each other. I will introduce myself again, but I won't go the full length. That's me from my kid's lens. I'm trying to be close to that, right? I mean, like, I shaved, so, okay, so. But yeah, it's kind of like, not true likeness, but a little bit. So, I am a lead fabric scientist at George Brown College. Now, what does that mean? Is I'm lucky to play with some of the most interesting materials, textiles. We analyze them, test them, modify them, sometimes even we break them, all in the name of science. We do commercial testing as well. Our lab is full of curiosity. At one point, we might be testing tensile property of, let's say, a composite for aerospace, and the other, we might be analyzing the surface properties of a new surgical gowns. We have done numerous projects. My current favorite project is on, well, sustainability. We actually developed a method to measure the properties of reusable period undergarments. I know it sounds niche, but it's right at the intersection of human-centered design and sustainability. It's a perfect example of how textiles are solving the real-world problem. So again, this might, I can talk hours and hours because there's a whole stigma attached to that, but probably for another day or another talk. So let's focus out and focus on why we are here. Whenever I start a series of lecture or give a talk to a new audience, I always start with a question, which is, what is textiles? I'll do an experiment here. Okay. Immaculate, right? When I ask you textiles, when I say textile, what is the first thing comes in your mind? A blanket, exactly, right? So everybody, it's like the immediate answer is blanket, t-shirt, undergarments, okay. Curtains, car seats, fiber, yarn, fabric. I hope I'm not too loud. Okay? So yeah, immaculate textile is more than that, right? And that's why we're here. That's why I wanted to give this talk. This pretty close to my heart, this topic is. So about this talk, I've divided this talk into 3 parts. The first part, we're going to expand that question. What is textiles? Second, we're going to talk a little bit about innovation. Third, we're going to ground ourselves and talk about a little bit about sustainability. So I'm going to share a personal story. When I was thinking about giving this talk, when Helen was asking me, right, I said I will tell everybody that why I dare say fell in love with this industry. Many moons ago, when I have full set of hair, I'm getting bold here, when I was a student in a lecture hall, one of the professors, Professor Chris Carr, who later co-supervised my PhD, walked into the hallway. Oh, Professor Carr, amazing person. He has done a lot of research. One of the research that popped into my mind is he has done research on bird feathers. He converted bird feather into egg trays or flower pots. So again, what they say, right? Cradle to grave, bird feather, and then the eggs. I'm derailing myself, sorry. So he came in the lecture hall with a big mug of tea in his hand, steamingly hot, right? You can see steam is coming out, right? He passed through us, came in front of the table or in front of us, put the cup, well, it was bigger than this, on the table. You can see the steam is coming out, and then what he did, he took a piece of fabric from his pocket. He said it's fabric. He asked the person sitting in front of us, nobody's there. Anyways, a person come forward, said hold it from one end, which he did. He hold it on the other side, and he poured some water on top of it. Nothing passed through. Okay, it was water repellent or waterproof. So it's a fabric which is waterproof, nothing big deal, not a big deal. But what he did, he draped that fabric on top of the mug, completely covering it. And after a few seconds, you can see steam is coming out. On the hindsight, you can say, come on, Syed, come on. This is Gore-Tex. It's like a microporous layer. There are small pores inside, right? Small enough to hold the water droplet and big enough to pass the water vapors. But we're talking about a couple of decades, right? I don't know, 15 to 20 years ago. A young student who's looking at the fabric, which is waterproof, but it is not. Steam is coming out. And for me, it was like, right, okay, is it magic? And at that point, I said, this is the field I want to work in, right? It's chemistry, physics, and a lot of possibilities. And if there's a barometer there for everybody about the excitement about textile, everybody has individual ones, right? And then you measure, let's say, likeness of textiles or excitement, right? I want, after this talk, I want this needle to move a bit, a millimeter. If it moves, I will be the happiest person on this planet Earth. I want to move it in positive, not in a negative way, by the way. So I just realized I should have changed my boots, right? These are the, I got the dress, sorry about that. Just realized, sorry. Anyways, so yeah, I will be the happiest person on this planet Earth if it moves. So without further ado, I've taken this image from Kai Dong's review paper, and it actually lays down the whole timeline about fibers, right? How we started with covering warmth and we move towards the self-sensing or self-healing fibers. So textile, immaculate, is more than blanket, you said, right? It's more than blanket. It's way beyond the wardrobe. We have, sometimes when I'm talking to students, I call it, I don't know if it's the right thing to say, like, textile is like water. You put water in any container, it will take that shape. So textile is part of aerospace, textile is part of medical, I mean, you named it. It's medical textile, biotextile, e-textile, and then so on and so forth. I'll give you a couple of examples. This is geotextile. Scientists have developed material, textile material. They put it onto the surface to improve the longevity of the road. You have biotextiles. This is an image of an artificial outer, 100% textiles, and it's Dr. King's development from the North Carolina State University. Part of a human organ. I'm going to pause for 3 seconds. There is a textile material, not outside, nothing like, attaching to your head or anywhere, inside your body, and nobody left it inside deliberately, right? I mean, accidentally. So there a textile that can help improve somebody or a faulty organ or faulty part inside the body. Isn't that amazing? I think, yeah, I mean, for me, it's fascinating. But I'm going to take a couple of steps back. What drives this? So I'm going to define, because of course we are here for innovation, right? So I would like to define what innovation is. So what drives these advancements are innovation. So in terms of innovation, there are 3 factors that are very important. First is desirability. Someone wants something. Then we have feasibility. Can we do it? Can we make it? And the third one, where's the third one? Okay, viability. Does it make business sense to make this? When you combine them together, this is where the magic happens, innovation. Someone wants it. Can we do it? Yes, we can, just like Bob the Builder, yes, we can. And we should do it, right? But if one thing doesn't work, then we have failures. And I'm sure you have questions. Are there any failures? It's like, of course, there are gazillion failures, if that's a word. I'll give you a couple. So in 2005, a famous water brand, Evian, somewhere there in the top head, right, somebody decided, we sell water. In summer, it's hot, right? So people drink water, and you are warm as well. So let's create a product that can keep a person cool and then quench their thirst. They came up with this idea, a water bra, a bra that can hold water bottles. Okay. So technically feasible, but utterly undesirable. I don't want to get too much into that. Let's move to something closer to home, Lululemon. I don't know if you guys are aware of 2013 Astro pants. So these were the yoga pants in 2013 they actually developed. What happened was when you stretch them, they become see-through. These are yoga pants. So you're stretching, and okay. So anyways, so again, the whole idea about this slide is that everything needs to work when you're talking about innovation. It's not about somebody's idea, aha, I can do it, and then the other things are not aligning up. So when these things align up, So we have the next frontier, smart textiles. So these fabrics, they don't cover us. They interact with us, with our environment. They generate energy by motion. They sense, they monitor, they even self-heal when they're damaged or broken. So imagine you have a wearable device, you're charging it without any wires, and your clothes, your fabric is powering this, or giving power to these biosensors. Picture this, you're in a hospital, right? A hospital gown which has sensors in it, no wires, no batteries, and they are just monitoring heartbeat, oxygen, without any external attachment. Isn't that amazing? This image is taken from advanced material. Again, I'm going back to the Kia Dong's paper, in which they talked about triboelectric nano-generating fabrics. So TENG, it's quite a mouthful, right? So these are the fabrics, or these are the structures. They are 3D structures, and then of course they do research on that thing, 3D structures, and then they, as you move, and through movement or friction, they generate energy. And if it is not, if that's not enough, imagine you have an ordinary fiber, like cotton. Cotton is not ordinary, so it's pretty sensitive, right? Okay, imagine there is an ordinary fiber. You can convert that ordinary fiber in one of the smartest thread on the planet by combining, let's say, cotton with graphene. Are you guys aware of graphene? I will quickly give you. Graphene is like a single atom chain, and you can apply it on any surface, and that will become conductive. So a good friend of mine during my PhD days, Nazmul Karim, he's a professor now. So him and his team and researchers like him have developed a graphene-infused yarns or fabric that can detect the signals of your heartbeat, breathing, and so on and so forth, without even messing up with the actual properties of those fibers, like flexibility, absorbency. Even you can wash them. Imagine the possibilities are endless in this thing. So, okay, one second. Sometimes these futuristic examples, I'm sure they are very inspiring, but it feels like they are pretty far away. So I want to ground ourselves and talk about the problems we are facing, the problem with the material which the earth cannot digest, which is plastic. So plastic, it revolutionized 20th century, amazing material, but it's a nasty material now. The curse is it stays forever and ever and ever, right? So plastic made up of a few ingredients. I won't go through all of them, but they are, fillers, plasticizers, and so on and so forth. So the question is, can we design materials and think about their life as well, like something similar to plastic, and we can use them, reuse them, repair them, and use them, and then again, do the production again? Answers, of course, is like biosensors, biopolymers or bioplastics. They can be gelatin-based, agar-based, or starch-based. again, these are the ingredients. Again, we actually, instead of using all those petrochemicals, we actually replace them with the biodegradable ingredients. And I will quickly go through the examples. I won't go each and every because there are quite a few, but at least give you some idea what they look like. So we have, these are the bioplastics, agar-based. References are there if anybody is interested. They can go and look at their profiles. So these are developed by scientists, researchers, and of course the fashion designers. We have gelatin-based bioplastic, food waste-based bioplastic. We have, again, gelatin-based and calcium alginate-based. If you go to Carla Davis' website or her profile, she claims that it heals your skin as well. I don't know much about that, but then again, it feels like plastic, though. That's good. Then we have artificial leather, right? Like kombucha. Well, the taste is horrible. Started liking it, though. Then we have Susan Lee microbial leather. I will highly recommend you guys to look at Susan's Lee work. And then see what she has done some remarkable work. I mean, she believed that, well, these are the dead organisms, but she believed that leather is like if you put a live animal on top of skin, then it will interact with your skin. So it feels like time flew. I don't know what happened. So again, oh boy, this is the last slide. I think it just flew. I don't know what I did. I'm really sorry. Oh, it's like what, 10, 15 minutes? That's it? Oh my God. Oh my God. This was supposed to be my last slide. And I thought I tried it was taking like 45 minutes, but right now what happened, right? I think 25 minutes, that's it? Ooh. So again, I will put the punchline there. And so next time when you see the piece of fabric, I hope you won't see the cloth. You will see a lot of possibilities like medicine, technology, sustainability, because textiles are truly more than clothing. I'm really sorry. I thought I was supposed to do it more, right? So anyways, hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to leave this last slide open. This is my son that drew that me. So this is probably when I'm old, I guess. So that's me. Hopefully you enjoyed this talk.
Since you went so quickly.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure that there's going to be areas of your talk where people would like to know more detail, whether it's on the types of materials that you were talking about and the designers of those materials. So since we can have more of a deep Q&A and really delve into what Saeed has been talking about. So who would like to kick off the questions from the room?
See a question in the, one in the front, one in the back. You're next.
Sorry, Garrick. Hey, Saeed, I was just going to put this on chat, but how can you design a wearable that's eco-friendly for a medical device?
How do you design a wearable which is eco-friendly for medical? So again, graphene, right? So cotton, right? So you can go. So the beauty about graphene is you can actually. So if you look at Nazmul Karim's research, so they applied graphene using inkjet printing. So you can print biosensors on top of any material, and it will become conductive. So I will highly recommend go. If you can check the graphene, right, and Nazmul Karim's work, that would be great.
Is it working? Okay, cool. Hi, thank you so much for your talk. I'm curious, when designing sportswear, is there a natural material or a way to incorporate, for example, linen with a stretch material or something like that, where it's mostly a natural material and it's very breathable, but you still have the properties of like an athletic sportswear textile?
So you want to design linen-based athletic material.
Yeah, or is there something that you suggest or a natural material that has stretch that you can use so that basically it's sportswear but natural materials instead of synthetic?
The amount of stretch you want for the athletics, I'm afraid, right now the Elastane are the best ones, right? But the way you are looking for, there are some materials, but again, they won't last that long if you're going for the athletics.
I'm curious because my mom has some very severe skin conditions, so she needs those breathable fabrics. So I was wondering if there was a way, or someone who's maybe working on developing that. Or not
I'll
quite
take a
at
look
the
at it.
moment.
I'll get back to you, definitely. So yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Let's treat this as a conversation. I know there's some knowledgeable people in this room as well. So if you would like to reply to any of the questions that have been raised, flag one of us down. We're a friendly bunch. Helen, over to you.
Oh, I have so many questions. Hi.
Oh.
Thank you. I'm just going to ask one, though. What do you think is the biggest barrier to developing in these innovative medical textiles? For instance, the example that you gave of the hospital gown that has all of the biomonitoring functions within it and embedded within it. Why isn't that a thing yet?
The technology is still evolving. The graphene, the way it was pretty expensive to develop the whole graphene, single chain atom, right? It was actually, we got a Nobel Prize, we means Manchester University. So they developed a new technique to get the single chain atom by using Scotch tape on it. But anyways, that's a different thing. So it's the only barrier is right now is first of all cost and mass production in that sense, right? That's the thing, right? And yeah.
Sorry, I do need to just ask this one more question.
Yeah, go for it.
You mentioned.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I butchered it, right? So I guess I don't know what I did, anyways.
You mentioned that you can print the biosensors, so you can print with graphene.
Yes.
And what is that printer? What does that printer
Inkjet
look?
printing, right? So again, I will recommend you to go to Professor Nazmul Karim, Nazmiul, Karim, Karim, his work.
Okay.
A good friend of mine, yeah, mentioned my name. Anyways, just kidding.
Thank you.
I think there's a question up front there.
Oh, yeah.
Helen.
Thank you. Has anyone come up with a textile that is a better alternative to whatever those textiles are that create waterproof? Because the dangerous chemicals used in that, I don't know if it's called PFAS or whatever it is, that makes raincoats and boots waterproof. These are very dangerous and harmful to the environment. Is there some substitute that is safe for the environment that has the same, and is it being used, and what's it called?
What is it called? Oh, that's a tough one. I have to get back to you on this thing, what it's called, but there are quite a few people working on that thing. PFAS-free, water repellent, even the fire retardant and then fire repellent finishes. They have a bit of PFAS in them. So yeah, I'll get back to you and I'll give you an answer on that.
Thank
thing,
you.
so definitely.
Yeah, we have a slew of questions here. I also want to start to show some love to our friends online. I think we'll pull the Menti code up again. So if folks are online and have a question to ask, I encourage you to ask it there. But let me throw to the one that I'm seeing on Menti. I think you touched on this in the first question a bit.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Perfect. Said, but if you could speak to the challenges, and then I'll ad-lib here, and maybe the promising approaches to dealing with conductive fabrics and textiles. Could you dig a little deeper into that?
So the challenge is, again, the challenge is, right, people sweat, right? Some sweat is good for conduction, but if you spill some water or anything, so that's, again, you need to create some kind of a barrier, right? 3D structures, we talk about the 3D structures like triboelectric nanogenerators, right? TNGS. Again, still development. We are still in the development, creating those things and then separating them. That's a challenge. And what was the next part? Sorry.
And maybe some promising approaches to deal with those challenges.
I'm just like a big supporter of graphene right now. Keep on talking about it. Graphene. I think that is the way forward. So.
All right, I'm losing track of the order here. So we've got one queued up there, and then I will jump here next.
Yes.
Hi, Dr. Said. So you talked about like the background of textiles and their utility in different fields. I'm just wondering what your research is, and if you could talk a bit more
My
about
research
that.
in sustainability. I said earlier on right now, so it's more into PPE, sustainability. We actually developed a new fiber, dissolving cellulose-based fiber and converting it into new one. So it's more into the area of sustainability.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, we'll grab one here, and then we'll ping pong between the two sides.
Thank you. So in your experience with perhaps collaborations with manufacturers, textile manufacturers, what's the appetite in Canada right now and opportunities for some of these innovative fibers and sensors and all of that? Because it's really hard to find people in Canada, and with the tariffs and everything, it seems like a real good opportunity. Do you have any experience on what the appetite in Canada is with textile manufacturers for all of these innovations?
Textile manufacturers, I will give you some developers context. So there are a lot of traction. There are a lot of developers or companies that approached us. For example, I talked about the reusable menstrual underpants. So this is a Canadian-based company. Yeah, not Nix actually. That we're talking about Revolcares. So Nix was also Revolcares is the one. British Columbia based actually. So they were very much, they actually developed, they actually developed the whole absorbent pads, and they are now going into the other products as well. So yeah, in terms of, you're talking about the wearables and all.
Just this appetite, are you seeing in the last year more interest in sort of regenerating the textile industry in Canada with the speed that we're doing innovations, and Canada doing some really cool things, including yourself? Are you seeing companies now coming forward to say, we want to open up this line, we want to become a key manufacturer of all of this technology, rather than us always having to go externally, which is actually becoming problematic now when you think about sustainability and tariffs and all of that?
You're absolutely right. Unfortunately, when it comes for manufacturing, not that much of traction, but development-wise, again, past few months, there are a lot of people, coming in and asking some help in certain things. There is one company even, a couple of weeks ago, they wanted to learn more about the stretchable fabric. They are making some compression pens. So yeah, there are a lot, but in terms of manufacturing-wise, unfortunately, Quebec is the place, but then again, it's there. Yeah, it's not so.
So I think we might be taking for granted that when you refer to companies coming to a GBC, right, what that means. So I know there are friends from our GBC kind of applied research team in the room. Is it worth unpacking a bit? What is that pathway? So if you're a venture, and I see some of them here, right, is that at that stage where they're wanting deeper R&D or validation or even like design and production help, what would that pathway look like?
So we have some excellent people representing our GBC research. We have at the back Daniel and Waleed. So if you guys are interested, if you guys want to know what is the right pathway, where do you want to go, what you want to, if you are into textiles or and other, of course, industry as well, they are the right people there. So Daniel and Waleed, if you so.
Show of hands in the back. So go find them during the networking session. They can talk you through exactly what that kind of gateway in looks like.
Yeah.
Hi, good morning. When talking about technology, every technology has its barriers and facilitators. In theory, every research and any innovation, the question is why not, right? Like this sounds like a great idea, why not? In the world of innovative fabrics, textile, what are some of the barriers that you're facing and maybe potential facilitators if you're there?
Me personally, I mean, again, I didn't get her name right. I mean, manufacturing is the biggest thing, right? You don't have equipment here. People, unfortunately, textile is reviving now, but it was, So textile is reviving now, but again, there was not that much of development in the western part of the world. So the manufacturing, the machines and all those things, it's the biggest barrier, right? When you talk about a woven fabric, if you want to weave a fabric, you need a whole loom, and then you have a certain type of, unless or until if it's a very miniature one, right? So it's like a lot of labor intensive work, and then we don't have that infrastructure, unfortunately, in Canada to hold that. So these are the challenges. So we cannot so we have to go overseas and then work on that thing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh.
Do you think graphene could be incorporated into metals?
Yeah, but the whole idea about graphene is make something conductive, right?
Yeah.
But you can always, I mean, graphene can be put it on any, it's just the coating you can think about, right? So let's say, I talk about cotton, right? Polyester, cotton, anything. These are not conductive. These are not like a wire-like fibers, right? And so if you apply that on top of those fibers or threads, it will become highly conductive. So metal, they are already conductive, right? So, but then again, you can play around if you can add a few things. So,
Do you think you can incorporate it into an airbag? So if a smaller person was in a front seat during an accident, the graphene could be incorporated into the airbag to not, like, when you have an accident and the airbag actually ruptures you? Do you think graphene could be incorporated into an airbag so it doesn't? I don't know if that makes sense.
no, it's perfect. It's perfectly fine. Yeah, I can incorporate with other things, but when you're talking about airbags, when they are, when they are inflating, coming out, right, and then basically is hurting somebody, a smaller person, there are other ways to stop that as well. But yeah, you can always add things. Again, that's not my area of research, but yeah, I think so.
Hello.
Hi.
Have a question in terms of other materials aside from the technology or high tech that is coming up. Do you see any breakthroughs in mass consumer, either fabrics, textiles, or any apparel in general?
I see a lot of traction, again, going back to things and Revolve Care, right? Absorbent pads, right? Absorbent materials. I think there is, people are going towards sustainability, and there's a lot of wastage when you look at the reusable diapers and all those things, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like, I don't know, for some odd reason, I'm seeing a lot of traction on these highly absorbent material. So, and then of course you can, and then you can wash them and then reuse them, so.
Hello, how are you? I'm Marley, and I kind of work in the fashion industry, and I do find that it moves super fast, and there's always more futuristic and innovative materials, and I'm curious if you ever sit with more archival work, and if you've seen any applications or fibers that have been used historically or culturally that maybe they've been forgotten, but in the future they can come back.
Oh, that's a tough one.
That'd be a very cool thing.
I know.
Someone at George Brown should get on that.
My mind is blank right now. I will get back to you on that.
Haley, is it in response to any of those last questions? Okay, you're up. Second next. I have a question. We have one here.
Oh, wow.
Hi. Thank you for your presentation. I just wanted to ask, there are all of these options available now, and we just keep advancing. And I'm wondering, what will it take to make this the main priority. We're still seeing all of these like microfibers available, and like companies aren't necessarily adopting them all the time. It's not a mainstream thing yet. What do you think it takes? Like, is it like laws or accountability? What are we looking for to see like a shift towards everybody adopting like sustainable textiles?
So there's one factor, right? Cost, right? I mean, how much it's going to cost to develop those things, right? I mean, that's the companies, they look at it. Of course, they will look for their profits as well. And then, of course, technology available, and then the production, the mass production. How to push them towards that? I mean, laws are definitely helping, right? And then awareness is very important. People are not aware of that thing. Again, I'm going back and back again. It's just like a broken record. Reusable, because I just finished it, right? The menstrual underpants, right? When we were doing some earlier research, most of the people, they didn't even know that there are, I mean, here we know, right? But when you ask other people outside from different countries, they didn't even know. And they have this, again, the stigma attached to it. Is it safe? Is it that? And that, again, awareness is important, right? And of course, awareness and laws, right? So.
Sure. Thank you. Hi. I really enjoyed your presentation, and you mentioned that you had done some work looking into PPE.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask that, given the fact that a lot of PPE is optimized for disposability and sanitation purposes, especially for medical applications, what innovations or approaches do you think hold the most promise for making those medical textiles more sustainable without compromising the safety factor that's so important?
So PPE is, again, polypropylene is the mostly used polymer or fiber in when you look at hospital textile, you're talking about gowns and all those, right? So again, it's more about recycling, taking them and reusing them. My work was onto the gloves. We developed a needle-resistant glove. We actually put some nanoparticles on top of the glove to stop the needle passing through. But challenges-wise is more about recycling, taking them and then, of course, recycling them properly. There are some advancement in we're talking about the reusable gowns, but then again, they are in the infancy stage.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, I've got a question over here. You talked for a little bit about conductive fabrics and power generation. And I can see the desirability there. Like, I think we could all use extra power sources. But can you give me the most up-to-date idea on where we are with feasibility and viability with that? I think my understanding is that the power potentially generated isn't necessarily worth the effort. But am I correct in that assumption, or do you have other wise
So
words?
basically, let me rephrase that question. Basically, you're asking that there are Apple Watches there, they can record you, there are devices there, you can hold them, right? Why there is a need. Is that right? Am I correct?
I think it was specifically in generating power.
In generating, okay, all right.
Yeah,
in
like charging a device or powering a device.
Is there a need? It all depends upon the application which you're doing, right? Some people don't want wires around them. Some people, right, like for example, you don't want to hook, let's say an infant, right? If you put a gown on it, if it is generating itself, that's perfectly fine. You don't want a wires around them and then they can just turn and then So that's, again, but we're still at the infancy stage of these things. You may never know what you're gonna go towards, right? So.
Maybe related, so I'll invite you to back up so our wonderful cameraman doesn't have to come to us for rehab. Yeah. There's a couple questions online as well that point to, exactly this, the interface with whether it's efficacy with the wearable watch. If you've been following Apple News, right, there's a whole host of announcements around even, right, their AirPods and everything having different kind of biomedical sensing things. So I put that as a general theme of discussion and welcome. I know there's some folks from our Sleep DB lab. If there's other experts that can comment on what they're seeing in terms of interface between technology, wearables, and then textiles and the more kind of garment-based wearables. So it's not a specific question, but there seems to be a couple of questions that are pointing to where's that headed.
Where that headed? Again, everybody has their own, So everybody has their own niche, right? their own area, right? Again, I personally believe there is potential in smart textiles. And I think, again, as I say, possibilities are endless. You don't like, I mean, when I was, again, going back to the Apple Watches and all those devices, you cannot put those devices on an infant, right, or AirPods or whatever on that, right? You need something that is stable and it's flexible enough and you can monitor it constantly. You don't want, so I believe there is a potential in this area. So.
Any thoughts from the floor or comments? Always welcome.
Oh.
Okay.
No, so thanks so much for the question, and I will echo with Syed as well. Like with the textiles, we aim to get things at home and without any discomfort. So when we talk about hard wearables like a smartwatch, that's not everything you wear every time you wear. But textiles, whenever you go, whatever you do, you wear textiles, and it's fade into your daily life without any difficulties. And regarding where it is currently right now, I guess in case of energy harvesting, there are a lot of advanced research is going on currently, and some of the research are really promising. If you are interested, I can, and Syed can also send some articles where they can see the feasibility of going to the scale-up stage.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Hi, Syed. I'm wondering if you don't mind going back into the past a little bit. So I remember your first slide mentioned studies on the gloss of human hair.
Oh.
Yeah, so
that's ancient time.
Could you maybe talk a little bit about that and then bring it forward to the present, talk about maybe some principles or theories with textiles?
So my work was, okay, so I developed a model to quantify hair gloss, right? So basically, learned about human perception, how people perceive, just like how a person perceives pain. If I pinch you, which I'm not going to do that, but if I pinch you and with the same intensity, if I pinch a child, that person gonna, of course, experience more pain as compared to you, right? So it's more about learning perception and how people perceive shine. So that was my work to look at the shine and then how it's related to textile is like wool fiber and keratin fiber. And then, so basically we developed a model just to measure the intensity of the luster, the shine. And yeah, I mean, how I relate, the relation with textile is like wool fiber. Bringing it now, I mean, it's been a while. So I don't know how to relate that thing with this technology though. So.
I was thinking maybe in terms of desirability. So if someone looks at a fabric and how shiny it is or how dull it is may impact how maybe they want it or they don't want it or it's functional or not functional.
There are a lot of instruments available when it comes for learning about the whole color chemistry or the whole how light reflects from the fabric. So there's a lot of calorimeter and spectrophotometer. So yeah, I mean, we can definitely look into that, like how people perceive color, and then how, let's say, kids look at it, and it's approachable, it's nice, you know. So yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look at it in that way, my work was only on shine, but yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know how to word this. It's more of a thought than anything. It's coming up as people ask questions. But I guess the innovation of these textiles or really smart textiles and these sustainable textiles is really, really exciting. But the matter of sustainability becomes very overwhelming because like you can innovate these materials that are sustainable, but they rely on like the end user in order to be sustainable as well, to be like recycled. So it's sorry, in a roundabout way, what am I saying? You can't just design the product or the fiber. You also have to redesign the system of its use and the system, like the life cycle of it from start to finish. And so I think that's why these things take so long to take, because the system isn't currently, like no system is really set up at a large scale.
You're absolutely
to
right. I mean, you can
incorporate
take an example
textiles.
of EVs, right? If there are no charging stations, what's the point of having EVs then, right?
Right.
So you need to build a whole ground for that to work. So everything works in harmony if you are absolutely right, yeah.
Like with the PPE, having the gowns that are recyclable, or you know what? Never mind. It
No,
was just
go
a
for
thought.
it. No, say it, right? Yeah,
Well, it's just
whatever.
like it's a great idea to have a biotextile that is it's biodegradable and also safe if we can develop that material. But then we have to find a way also to safely recycle it or biodegrade it, like a site where it can be broken down and not like have any what's it called? Like additional waste that enters the ecosystem. Because just because it's biodegradable doesn't mean that it's
You're talking about landfills?
landfills, but also like using like crab shell or mushroom to make a different material, and then putting that somewhere into the ground to biodegrade doesn't mean it's not gonna, like at a mass scale, it's gonna disturb the ecosystem of wherever it's being placed. So designing a system for its disposal as well as the actual product has to be considered, and it's just like a very large undertaking, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, awareness is very important as well, right? You need to be aware of those things. I mean, we have at George Brown College, we have, by the way, our new Limberlost building. I don't know if you have guys seen it, the whole wooden building, massive, made up of wood. So they have these trash cans they have their scanner on top of it. So you go there, you put your trash in front of that scanner, it scans and says, you need to put it into this bin. So again, I'm just like, I mean, awareness is very important, right? So.
It's great talk. I kind of have a question around like plastic containing textiles. So they are still persisting in the environment, and they've kind of been shown to hurt human health care and also the environment as well. So I guess there is some research being done on microbes that can consume these plastics. What's your opinion on the feasibility of implementing these microbes and also scaling them up?
Again, that study, that research is still at the infancy stage. We don't know at a larger scale, but we have read there are some microbes, right, that can eat plastic and then, of course, digest. Can't say. I mean, of course, this is promising, just like TNG is. So, it's promising, and that's, I mean, there will be, hopefully, they're going to digest all the plastic in the world, but right now, it's just fingers crossed, hopefully,
Hi. My question also is a bit convoluted, but I think what I want to ask is there's a lot of, it's hard to get information about textile manufacturing, and as well as sort of scientific studies. Both the research and the manufacturing spaces are perhaps specific to their own world, and I was wondering if there was perhaps some sort of
platform,
open source kind of space where these developments are placed, so that also individuals could have access to these developments, as well as sort of ways that one could use existing materials to have the properties that are being created on this like larger scale, but sort of similar to the question with EVs, like the batteries are a complicated aspect. What is a way that you could take your regular car or your used car and then make that better? It's a bit of a silly question like that.
No,
that's sort of like my thinking is where is there sort of a place that manufacturing and research could create an open source platform that is available where individuals could also participate in
research or innovation?
Do you have this amazing network, Fiber, right? Yeah. We have George Brown College, our research office. They're always, I mean, again, I love this community, the Fiber, and all those. I mean, people are getting together, and this is a great initiative. Again, do you want to add a bit to it? Like,
Okay. Thank you, Helen. I mean, I think it relates a little bit to your comment about, and what you were saying in terms of you need everything, right? We need fashion and fast fashion to kind of take responsibility, which they are starting to take responsibility, but it's been years for them to get to that point. And it was only the pandemic that really kind of pushed them. Huma, you can also speak to this as well, in being more cognizant of having, so much going into landfill, just because their warehouses were stacking up and they weren't making money anymore. So for fashion, it's about, if they're going to make losses, right? And so to get anything changed there, money is always at the center of everything. But then again, if we can research textiles, make textiles that are then trying to help solve some of the problems that we're encountering in modern life, and then we're also looking at how they're going to be recycled and better systems for recycling. And then we're doing research into other areas of recycling and circularity. Then I think all those things come together to try to solve the problem that is of our own making, right? But as Saeed talked a little bit about what is innovation, we banned this word around so much. Oh, well, this is innovative and this is innovation. And I think you got it with, that middle portion. It's also about what's needed, and then how we can move that onwards. So we've got to move the dial on all of that ecosystem. So I think this is what was exciting to me about starting with our talks on fashion technology that we've run this year, and then going into our series of textile talks with Saeed and Saiful, who's going to be doing them, is really looking at textiles and fashion and commenting on the industry, and then commenting on the research that's going on in all of these areas. But it does take us all, and obviously I think sometimes we rely too much on the innovation in materials to solve our problems, because we still want that fast fashion as well. But then also we want the material to miraculously do everything that we need it to do. Absolutely. Well, at some point we've got to kind of say, well, I want to be cognizant of the environment, therefore I'm not going to buy as much, therefore maybe I want my material to last longer, and I'm actually going to go that extra step in recycling that material as well. So I think, the scientists and researchers can, they're doing amazing work in coming up with new materials, but as a consumer of, ultimately fashion, we have to do that work as well. So I don't know if that answered your kind of sort of roundabout.
So she wanted to talk about, is there any platform? Anyway, so I said Fiber.
So getting back to that, I think that's a great idea. And I think in terms of bringing in a platform, fantastic idea. And, I think at Kite Creates and through Fiber, we're trying to kind of build some awareness, and we're trying to look at projects that kind of like that will help people find what they need, find the manufacturing, and connect the dots. And that's really what Kite Creates has been doing, and Fiber is starting to do, is to connect the dots. But obviously, we also need to kind of find our own funding for these kind of incredible kind of projects. And that's what takes the time. And in the end, we come back to that unfortunate issue of money. Yeah. But Saiful, you had?
Thank you so much. I just wanted to add about the open resource. So in Canada, we have a Institute of Textile Science. It's called ITS, formed in 1956. So it's a very old organization, non-profit. And from that institute, we also open to support people who look for suggestions or some expert guidance. So I can send the link to Helen, and Helen can send the website link to all of you for sure. Thanks.
And I think any of the questions, we've said, or we'll get back to you.
Yep.
And there's nothing worse than not getting back to you.
Yep.
So any of the questions, then relate them to me, and I will.
Yep.
I will ask it.
I'll be more than happy.
Safel to kind of get these answers together and then get them back to you. I think it's important that those questions are answered.
Okay. Hi, thank you for the presentation today. So for the textile wastewater treatment, it's been always a big problem, stop us to achieve the sustainable goals. And I'm actually come from U of T startup. We do water purification. We discover innovative materials that work with sunlight or LED to provide affordable solutions. So I'm thinking, what's the biggest challenge for the textile wastewater treatment from your perspective, and how can a water purification startup in Canada partner or working with who to help solving this problem?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
You have deep wastewater regulation experience here, or?
That's not my expertise, but yeah, I have to get back to you on that thing, though. That's for sure. So.
I'll call a bit of an audible because I know we're edging into our networking time, so we probably have only time for a couple more questions. But there was a question in our Menti that pointed back to the heart kind of valve example that you gave. So maybe I'll take time, since we are in an active hospital, to point the discussion towards, and I'm looking at our team here too, what are the issues, the opportunities when it comes to kind of medical-based textile innovation, which I will presume, right, is a different degree of obviously efficacy, technical rigor, liability, regulation, all those sort of things that may not be for the standard fashion design audience top of mind. So if we are to get into that space, what are the sort of things we have to think about, and any guidance that you might be able to provide? And I'm pointing at anyone in the room who may have commentary on this, right? Innovation in a healthcare context.
So basically, do you want to know if there are any problems related to?
Yeah, or just additional considerations, right, that we have to think about. Like our friend with the wastewater, it's, now you're getting to very specific applications. So what are the sort of things that we have to think about, or challenges that we've encountered? I'm looking at our team here, right, when we're designing now for health and wellness.
It's the selection of materials. Secondly, I guess, how to put it? Let's say, the example which I gave with the graphene, right? The challenge is creating that fabric and applying graphene on top of it. That is one challenge. I don't know. I'm blank right now.
Oh, good. I'm putting you on the spot, but not meaning to. Safel might have a comment there. So. And then I'm scanning the room for any final questions before we can move to.
Just to add with Syed. So one of the main challenge in our own team and with evaluating other products, we have identified the material choice is one of the biggest problem. We have found a lot of off-the-shelf product, which looks very good, but we feel like the material choice was not the perfect one. If we think about the fiber they used, the yarn they used, and the fabric structure, later on the coloration and other things, that may work in the first step or few attempts, but over time, there's one of the major problem we have identified here and in my previous research as well. So yeah, if I say apart from the regulatory consideration, which always we keep in mind while we start developing the product, there are a lot of material consideration which is missing, and that's fun to solve. Yeah.
Safel, while you have the mic, could you highlight what are some of those regulatory considerations?
what are, sorry, could you
Some of the regulatory considerations when it comes to
so
the
one of the
textile
one of the
aspect.
major things, even when we are talking about the printing, even with the graphene and other things, we need to consider if it is skin compatible, because while we are using the nanoparticles, we need to consider if it is going to go your skin as well or not. So that's one of the major things in some of the cases we also miss, if it is skin compatible, if it has passed the skin compatibility testing. There are different standards with ISO and other that you also need to consider. Thank you.
Thank you. Wait, we've got Haley in the back, unless you spy anyone over there.
So this will be the last question.
Pressure. It was more just a comment, less a question, but I think one of the big barriers is the most innovative textiles are often only available when you have the money to buy huge minimum order quantities. And as soon as you're working for a corporate entity with big purchasing power, that's when you really get to see the cool stuff and what is really at the forefront of innovation. And so it would be nice to have mills and fabric suppliers start to democratize the accessibility to those innovative textiles. And I think that would be really exciting for especially us in Canada, where we have a smaller market and some interesting research happening here.
It's a great comment to end on. Okay, so we ran a little bit over, believe it or not.
Yeah, wow. Hope you enjoyed the talk, though.
So I'd like to thank Saeed for a great talk, and thank you all for coming and being so active in the conversation. And also, just to advertise our next textile talk, which will be with Saiful here. And it's happening on October the 8th. So look out for that. It will be online soon. And yes, thank you, everyone. And please stay around for a networking session at the end. Hopefully there's tea and coffee left and a few more snacks at the back. And thank you again for coming.
I hope it was